Last we left off, Chief and Ceradyn, having been reunited outside of the mine's crag, where Chief had just adventured in to gather material that was necessary for the machinations he was looking to complete before returning the Forge Force. Shortly after reuniting, you were quickly beset upon by the same soul grasp Encephalon that had imprisoned Chief. Electing to use the opportunity to flee, build some distance, and potentially break away from it entirely. The two made their way into the jungle, or forest. After some time of travel, it became apparent that the soul grasp Encephalon was not going to be so easily lost. In looking for high ground that would overlook the path that the creature would be using to close distance, a set of ruins was found where a defensible position might be made. Within these ruins was found a room where tubes of green glass and a magic circle on the floor prompted the pair not to investigate it too intimately. But upon exiting that room and stepping back out into the cold, they were called to by the Encephalon that it had found them and was on its way. And that's where we jump into the session. The two of you are still generally around the entrance to the ruins at this point, so go ahead and move your tokens in that direction. But this is the moment that you heard the Encephalon say,
the entrance right about there?
Yes. So there is an entrance on this side as well as here.
Cool.
So what is it Ceradyn and Chief would be doing right now?
Chief hearing that, he'd probably go back and start making sure the logs that he has shivved into spikes set up to maybe hurl at the Encephalon while he's in the pit.
Okay. So just kind of checking up on things. Ceradyn, just make a perception check while Chief is doing that.
My intention was to fly up and get a view since we had been down in the room for
I figured.
a bit. So, perception. Karate roll. Oh, Lord. A 9.
You know, in the amount of time that the two of you spent down below, the weather has turned just a bit. It's by no means a blizzard, but there is beginning to be snow flurries on the ground, kicking up what is still loose, as well as a fresh new snowfall. And looking off into the distance, you don't quite see that blue glow. You do know from earlier this morning, approaching midday now, that it was still a good distance. And you have no idea how far its communication can reach.
I'm just going to keep making my way back there. I just didn't want to move too fast.
Oh no, you're fine to move freely right now as long as you let me know where you're going.
Yep. And this is about where I decided to set those logs up that I shaved into spikes. I'm going to try aiming them kind of like in this general direction.
And I'm
You're
gonna fly. Oh,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was planning on getting after that visual. I'd be flying over to update Chief that I don't have visuals at the moment, but I'm gonna be
Okay.
basically waiting up there at that entrance until it arrives, and then I won't come back again until it's with me. That way he can prep.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's my intent. And then I'd fly back over down here to one of these trees, I guess.
Okay. All right. Chief, give me a description of this trap. Is it just, there are just some logs up there and you're literally going to hurl them? Are they set with any kind of mechanism? Like,
There's no mechanism, but they are going to be kind of like I was pointing out. They're all pointing at this general direction,
right.
because the goal is to get it in there, and then I'm just gonna hurl them with a spell.
Oh, okay. I see. So they're kind of just laid over the edge and.
So they're pointed and they're gonna.
Gotcha. All right. Makes sense. Okay.
I did, I think last session, say I wanted to start shaving them into like spike.
Yeah, that's something that, given your size and kind of the amount of time that you've had, is relatively a straightforward task for you.
That's the
and
goal.
You have an axe. You have a magical axe even. So, Okay. At this point, some time is passing and you're not getting any other intrusions into your mind from the creature.
What is off behind me?
Off behind you, the forest, you're kind of in this, you don't know if it's natural or not, but this kind of mound that's been built up over this section that then drops away into the forest that's relatively flat all the way to the edge of the forest. There are some hills and crags and stuff, but mostly flat.
So we kind of have high ground?
You do. You're up about 60 feet from the regular forest floor.
So with Ceradyn telling me he didn't see anything coming from the direction that we came, can I spy anything coming from the direction behind me?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
21.
21. In looking off in that distance, at first there's nothing. But as you're keeping your attention that way, and you're sharpening the final of the logs that you've cut, considering chopping down another tree, there's a twig snap. You turn. There's a deer. It's moving pretty quickly, right to left, when you're looking that way. It would be north to south. It prances across the new snow.
Is it running pretty quickly, as in it's spooked, or just traveling along its way?
It's conceivable that it'd be because it's scared. Although, deer are kind of always scared.
What is Master reacting like to this?
He seems very interested in the deer.
I'll go ahead and keep a wary eye on the thing and have Master just kind of watch my back while I do one more free log and
Okay.
get that.
And Yeah, chopping down a tree for you, it's probably a 10 to 15 minute thing. So you definitely start into it. Ceradyn, what else are you doing right now?
Not seeing anything. He's probably gonna want to fly up in the air and start doing circles, just just so he can get up. So kind of like in this
Okay.
kind of circle route, so that he can get up a little higher and try to get some visuals that he didn't have.
So almost circling the tower that was once there.
Yeah.
Okay. A good amount of time passes for the both of you. Chief, you do finish another log, place it, and given that nothing has happened, you go and begin another. Ceradyn, flying around consistently, it gets a little boring. You start to even wonder, has it just decided not to, come after us? Really seemed like it was going to. But then you hear, just you, Ceradyn, but we won't bother splitting things.
Why choose this place?
And you can tell, it's not like this large echoing voice that cascades over the valley. It's here. It's inside.
I think Ceradyn would immediately do a quick scan to see if it's visible within range.
Yeah, go ahead and just make another perception check while you determine your other actions. Which for you, Chief, while this is happening, you don't hear anything.
12.
12.
Yeah.
You don't hear or see anything. The snow's been just consistently light, but it is falling.
I think Ceradyn would be content waiting and trying to keep an eye out for this creature. He's used to waiting for information, so.
As you wait and you don't respond, you hear again.
You don't know, do you?
I think there would be a piqued curiosity, internally, but is Ceradyn even aware that he can respond in his mind? So...
Well, okay, so I feel like you would be aware of, in general, psychic style communication, as well as the sending spell and things like that. You would have been the recipient of sending a great number of times in the Rogues Guild, and then again in your training to become an expositor initiate. So
okay,
you can tell it's not that, but it's kind of along the same lines. Still no response?
I think maybe he will have a response.
Okay.
In his head.
Of course.
Is there reason for your curiosity?
Make a persuasion check.
4.
You beat his insight.
You stand upon our weapon.
And Chief, at this point, you finish another log. It's up to you if you want to
I'll stop once
change
there's
tasks.
I'll stop once there's about 12.
I would say at this
What?
point you would have gotten there. A good amount of time's passed.
I just probably patrol around and keep my eye out on the lower horizon.
Ancient and lost this weapon is. A soul that was mine knew of it.
I think Ceradyn would think to himself along the lines of something like, weapon, there's just ruins here. Like, he would think it, and I don't know if it heard him think to himself his thoughts, but he would have.
Well, as the thought crosses your mind,
Ruins hold history.
and it is at that point you realize that outright your thoughts are not private at the moment. So, given that clarification, you will have to divulge what are your surface level thoughts moment to moment.
Okay. I think immediately with that realization, he'd be like, so you hear all in my mind, but I am confused.
No, the surface I could press.
And I'd like you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh. Okay. $13.
You feel a deeper intrusion into your mind. It's not great. And it persists for what feels like a very long time. But once it ends, you can tell it was only a matter of seconds. But at the amount of information that is wrenched from you, it's pretty substantial. Many of your recent memories of events in Xhorhas, as well as your lack of knowledge of this place.
Oh, so you do not know?
I do not like not having information. Would you care to share?
Make another persuasion check.
It's getting weird in here. Okay. Persuasion.
Chief, let's also have you make a perception check.
Persuasion.
Perception.
11.
15.
Not great on the rolls. today.
Chief, you pick it up a couple of times, but Ceradyn's been flying in just a consistent circle, just vigilant for an hour and a half at this point. But just now, like, he was flying in a circle, then he started going in a straight line, and then had to come back.
And I
regain.
think at the conversation pickup, I may have landed back on that tree, just to clarify.
Okay, and you'd see that as well, Chief. You saw a little bit of a change in flight pattern and then landing.
Interesting. Just gotta make my way over to the building again.
Okay. What's going through your mind right now, Cyrnos?
Ceradyn?
Sorry, Ceradyn.
You're good. I think when he said that, he genuinely meant it. He was frustrated. But I mean, did he get a response with that?
Not yet.
13. Yeah, he would be contemplating the frustration in that moment while trying not to think about it. So, like, he would be thinking about not thinking about it.
And the mental discipline, essentially. Okay.
Yeah, it would be kind of jumbling his own mind at the moment, trying to think about not thinking.
Yeah. Chief, at this point, if you would like, you would have been able to make your way to Ceradyn.
Where is he? Just over here?
You can just barely see him camouflaged right there. But given that you saw him land, you kind of knew where he was.
He's just hard to see on the screen. There he is.
Yeah. Even more so that he's a white snow owl in the snow. So.
Yeah.
Would I see Chief approach?
Yeah. I mean,
I figured
he
he's
didn't say
green.
he was being stealthy. Yeah, he's green. He didn't say he was being stealthy, so.
Do you happen to hear Big Blue as well?
Things talking to you?
A little bit.
I've only seen you've been watching as I've been drooling. I see you fly straight a couple of times. So that's about it.
It started communicating with me.
How high up were you?
I mean, as high as I was when you probably noticed a flight pattern change.
Which, kind of just judging it, Chief, it's like 90 feet
And
or
I
so.
have not seen anything. And I don't
Have
think...
you heard him since you landed?
Yes, and I don't think our conversation is safe.
Oh. What has he said to you?
Just that there is a weapon here. An old one. Ancient. Care to fill in the blanks? Just kind of saying it and thinking it.
Of course.
For
If
both
you'd like,
of
you could
us.
make another persuasion check.
I know that this creature wants to collect you, as you said, correct?
Based on me escaping its captivity earlier, yes, I would assume that would be the case.
Can you think of a reason why it would be trying to communicate in such a way? And I roll
I'm
a
not sure.
25 on the persuasion.
I'm not sure about communicate, but it did say something about stealing its power. That souls. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go.
That the souls it was gathering in those stones was its power. That's all I have to
It
say.
is at this point that you hear both of you in your minds.
I am a cautious creature. That place is not safe for me.
I didn't. Alright, I'm trying to. Don't think I wrote anything down. Oh, I forgot to write it down. Going off of what we saw down in the room and Ceradyn mentioning that Big Blue told him that there was an ancient weapon, and now it's saying it's not safe for them. Can I try to make a intelligence or history check again on the contraption we found in the basement?
You could do. It could be history or arcana. And given that you just saw it, I can kind of just describe it again. It was just a round room outside of the door that led into it. A very, very short hallway that was only long enough that the door would open and not interrupt the circle. The runic circle was there with relatively complex scribing and incantation or enchantment. It did appear to be actively magical, and at various points in the room from the circle there were green glass tubes or pillars or something of the like that kind of integrated with the runes, almost like they transitioned from being tubes to becoming part of the rune work. And they went up into the ceiling, as well as everything kind of congregated towards the center of the room, where there was just this, like hemisphere embedded in the floor. But if you'd like to make a history or arcana check to try and...
I'll go ahead and do an arcana check.
Okay.
I think that
Now
these
ahead.
things would be happening, Ceradyn would be not, because he's not quite sure what he can do to keep his thoughts private. I think he would start just like mentally constructing an image of a stone wall in hopes that it would block out things. And
just make a wisdom check.
Okay.
The 13 for the arcana.
Yeah, Chief. So you feel that maybe if you were there, you might be able to dissect it a little bit more. Doing it purely off of memory is difficult. You know that there's obviously a mechanism there. Now, whether that room is this supposed weapon or it's something else and the weapon's elsewhere, if the weapon's even still here, You don't know. Ceradyn, you, yeah, you're doing that.
Ceradyn, keep Big Blue talking or occupied. I'm going to go check on something. I'm going to make my way back down to that room.
Back down to that room. And given that the door is, broken open, essentially at this point, such that it won't close properly without repair to the mechanism, it is easy enough. 2 minutes of walking, and there the room is there in front of you with the door having drifted closed again.
I'm going to go ahead and enter it.
Okay.
Actually go and not just throw things in.
Okay. You do step in. Nothing happens.
I'd like to go to the middle of the circle. And so I'm like right in the center of the room, so I can just kind of scan, see if there's anything that looks like instructions or a control panel or something.
Okay. Just roll a d20 for me.
Yay. Big boulder. Headed my way. It's an 11.
And do remind me, you guys are fully rested right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
At least it looks like it. I have all my spell slots and health is all the way up.
Well, you had all your spell slots. As you step over the central half orb, the ether is drawn from you. And every one of your spell slots is expended.
Okay.
But it's not instant. There's a connection. You find that this feels very, very similar to when you delved into the synthetic ley line system in the control room at Morta. We're entering a skill challenge.
Yay.
Oh boy.
Roll an initial Arcana check. Which, given that you were totally fresh and you dumped, I was going to say with advantage, so I guess you could check for a 20, but...
yeah, why not for fun?
Come on, camera. There we go.
No, one less.
Well, still both as higher rolls.
25.
It's not a total separation of your consciousness. It's a bit more reserved than that, a bit more guided in a way. Your senses extend deep underground, and you're still present here, but you're aware of something deeper. How many total spell slots was it, and of which levels?
4 at first level and 2 at second level.
Okay.
There might be more whenever I level up to the next level. So
yeah.
But
okay. Gotcha. There are a number of paths before you in this structure. Make a perception check.
17.
17. You see 4 paths. But see isn't the right word for this. You're aware of 4 paths. You're not personally aware of what they are, but they're laid out in front of you. Which do you take? 1, 2, 3, or 4? And to even give them, left to right isn't correct.
I'll go for number 3.
Number 3. Okay. Go ahead and roll a d20.
13.
13. Okay. As you step into this path, you feel the level of ether you have invested tick down by 1. You have a limited amount of time, limited number of steps you can take in this place. But as you step through this pathway, deeper and deeper mechanisms reveal themselves to you. And you can tell that far down this path, there's a power source. Something that could stabilize you in this connection. Make an Arcana check.
24.
Wow, okay. Are you going to go deeper?
Yes.
And your consciousness swings. Your reach extends. And it's beginning to become a little bit of a strange feeling because the places, not being the right word, but the areas that you've already been go dark. You're no longer aware of them, and you're no longer in this straight connection between yourself and this extended sense. Instead, you're here and there, not this continuum. As you move through these mechanisms, you sense a great number of functions for this device or series of devices or whatever this is. I'd like you to tell me which skill you'd like to use and explain how it achieves discerning what any of these do.
Honestly, it'd probably be the investigation skill, not because of the number that's on it, but Chief is always looking to help, trying to figure things out, and figuring out how things are put together, and
Okay.
that would
But
be an
treating
investigation and all of that.
treating it like a puzzle. Go ahead and roll investigation.
21.
Okay. Your level of ether ticks down 1 more. Time is passing. Though the sense of time is a bit odd in here. What you do discern is a great number of these functions here around you in this initial place seem to be almost maintenance oriented. You can sense specifically the path that your ether is taking. You can sense that there's switches that could be thrown to change that path, though you have no way of knowing what that would do. You do discern that the path the ether is taking now is going towards that deeper source.
I want to keep headed for that deeper source.
Okay. Go ahead and roll another Arcana check. As again, the level of ether drops down.
15.
15. Barely made it. The DC is climbing, though, just so you're aware. You do extend yourself further, and right now it's as if this separate sense is soaring through this endless expanse with fine points that pass by of arbitrary functions. You can tell one is almost like a use log. It's like ether signatures of people that have used this device before. A method of identification you have no idea how to interact with. And you can tell that instantly. It's like, okay, I can kind of tell. And you see just a touch of ether from you kind of go and file itself in. And it's gibberish. Extending further, for the first time you actually see in front of you. And all of these lines, very, very faint, ethereal purples and blues and whites, the occasional green, are beginning to congregate at this fine point that looks to be an eternities of travel away. But you know that you're moving at some strange pace. How are you going to get closer? As again, the level of ether ups down another.
Thinking back when I was trapped inside of the stone, the crystal, I just thought myself forward, I'm going to use that same thought process.
And it does. Rapidly. As you will yourself that direction, within but a moment, this object that looked to be out of reach is in front of you. And it is no more detail than a ball of blinding light. But it's there in front of you.
Is it big or is it just kind of...
Scale isn't a thing here. It's in front of you.
I'm going to mentally reach out as if I was trying to grab at it.
Okay. Roll a d20 for me, please.
That's a 2.
2. Okay. You go to reach out and you do connect. And at first, it feels like very little. Feels like any of the other functions you kind of passed by. But there's this one small pathway, one small detail. You feel like if you can follow it in, this might be it. How are you going to follow that pathway?
I want to visualize how my firebolts look.
Okay.
And how they're kind of like a streaming fire, line of fire coming out. And I want to try to visualize myself as that, as a pinpoint thing, and shoot through there. As
Okay.
trying to get on that path. Like threading the needle almost.
Yeah. Go ahead and roll a ranged spell attack.
An 11.
Okay. You do. And it's almost as if you yourself jet forward. The level of ether drops again. There's only a couple more, volumes of this amount left. But when you enter, your consciousness up above stops. And you are now in a room. This room, to call it that, is again still a bit of a misnomer, but you are there in a form that is your Warforged form, mind you. But see-through. Wisps of ether seem to be drifting off of it all around you. There are something you've never really seen before, but there are rectangles floating all around you with script scrolling on them. You feel that drain that was happening is stopped. At least for now. Ceradyn, what would you be doing during this time?
I think while trying to construct this stone wall in his mind, imagining that he's somehow to block this creature, he's also periodically engaging, much like a gauge to see if it's working with his mind saying, I know the other one has taken from you, but why chase so hard?
Make a persuasion check.
It's a 12.
You don't hear a response, but you feel there's just this antsy nervousness that fills you. You can tell it's not your own, but you still have the same physical response because of it.
Will you not enter these grounds? Just, random questions to gauge.
Yeah.
That's basically what he's going for here.
You were asked to keep it busy.
Yeah.
I am weary, but without food, I will die.
The souls your food?
In a sense.
Personally, I do not wish harm to befall the people of this land. And if you're trapping them, I can't very well allow that, even if they're your food.
There's a good long pause. But much like how that nervousness filled you, there's a contemplation, a forming of words that is gathering. And after about a minute,
Much like the Luxon, I only take those that have already passed.
While continuing to try and construct a wall that's bigger in his brain. Just
redoubling the heavy lifting.
like, because it's obviously still responding, so he's like, well, maybe I just gotta make a better wall. Like, protect my mind.
Yeah.
He doesn't know.
Putting in mortar.
He doesn't know.
Yep.
But then why the other one with me? If you have those that have passed, why press when he is here?
Make another persuasion check. Been making you make a lot of those, but
That's okay. To 10. Got the great rolls today, that's all.
That is not my story to tell.
which Cyrano, make either an insight or an intelligence check, if you would.
Okay. Just do intelligence. 20. Dirty.
More than enough. Why? Now, another question fills your mind, rather than an answer, but why would this creature respect that? It nags at you. Why? Why?
I think that would mentally visible probably to Big Blue.
Outwardly, right?
Yeah, that why floating around in my head.
Fair enough. Turning our attention back to Chief. This room is around you. What do you do?
I'm going to mentally think or mentally reach out or call out, because I'm still new to it, to Ioun for guidance or help in this.
Just make a religion check.
$26.
Yeah. I didn't expect. Okay. You reach out. You know there's something deep inside that you know you should be connecting with at least something to get something. But you hit something. And there's nothing. You're not well versed in the divine, but place is cut off somehow.
Let's see. Looking around this room, other than the rectangles with scripts on it, or I guess, and looking at the rectangles with script on it, is there any pathway, or on the rectangles, can I understand any of the script?
Just make an investigation check, and I'll just tell you while that's going, what's readily visible. These floating rectangles, they don't appear to have any dimension to them at all. They are a thin plane, and as you kind of turn and look, and you realize now that your body moves as a body in this place, when you're on their side, they're just gone. But then you can look at it from the other side and here. They are immaterial, though they display this script. What languages do you know?
Common, Dwarvish, and Gnomish.
Gnomish. Okay. There are elements of Dwarvish and Gnomish. It's not purely runic. There is language here, but it is quite old. Though as you sit and attempt to read, the script shifts. Which language would you like it to be?
Just go for something that's easy to understand, even when written, the common language.
Transforms into common. And what you see is data, information, just recording. There is fluctuations, there is equations that are active. There is notes, even. That are small, like maintenance notes. The probabilistic channel is collapsing. And then the next note. You couldn't save it. And then the next note. The subdimensional space will, and then there's missing information. The last note on this section that's just continually scrolling over this same set of notes says, I have stabilized it, but I am lost.
Is there anywhere describing what they mean by it?
Make an investigation check again. Well, no, that one was high enough. In looking over some of the other panels, you can tell that some are just like taking readings of something or giving information of something that is still happening. You also run up upon a one of them that looks to be very recently ignited, where many of the others have kind of very much settled into their form and are in fact quite dim. This one, this ether that you've injected, you can see it showing up and filling into this display. But as far as notes about a description of what this place is,
Well,
there's no manual.
It was more along the lines of what they were talking to when they're like, couldn't save it or stabilize, when it was like referencing the dimensional space.
Okay.
Because since I was trapped in that crystal and talking with my daughter, we talked about subdimensional space. So I'm thinking maybe the it is the big blue thing. That's the way Chief is thinking, not what the contraption is.
You do not find any notes, no manual, no more descriptive entries, unless you'd like to try to interact with something.
You said a newly formed one has come in with like my experiences, right?
Your ether, the
Right.
energy that you submitted, has been taken and is filtering into this. It's still channeling in.
All right, this is probably going to be a wild long shot, but I want to see if there's anything that I know I probably can't tell what the ether is describing in code or whatever. I want to see if there's something similar to that same type of ether code that's coming in. If there's a quick look around, because I'm pretty sure I don't have much more time.
Okay. No, that makes sense. There's a multitude. There is ether channeling from a great number of places. With that investigation check, it's when you really go to start looking around at this. And you kind of look down. There's a globe with almost a net over it. Lines that lay across this globe, intersecting at different points. One that glows very brightly right now in this bright yellowish white light that is a convergence of a good number of these lines. And then far, what would be to the east of that, another convergence point, where a black, deep void is formed. Some of these lines have small specks along their length that cause them to just flicker occasionally.
Sorry, I can't write fast.
You're good. I'm giving you some time.
Looking down at this globe with the net, can I... Does... I guess the only way to think about it, being touched with the ley lines a couple of times now, is this the world? If I like look at a map of the known region that I'm in, can I see like those continents or whatever?
It is very conceivable that that is the case.
I'd like to make a mental note on where that black void could be located.
If that first one that glows a bright white yellow, that you realize you are close to, at least on a geographic scale, is somewhere in Wildmount. The one with the void is somewhere far on the other side of the world. Not towards the southern hemisphere, but instead towards the northern hemisphere. Maybe the far side of Taldore, maybe Isilra.
Alright, well, I'm gonna... Next step is to do things, see if there's anything about the creature that's been following us, and then a way out.
Okay. So, just a little bit of behind the screen. Anytime there's a really insane roll, right? Which a 29 is pretty wild. I always have a set DC for discerning things, and that roll just gets like slowly consumed. If that makes sense, as just kind of a reward for a good roll. You have exactly enough that you happen upon off of the back of that roll. The ether that you submitted has filed into a device, and that device is displaying a little bit of an overhead view of the ruins. You step closer to it.
Yes.
You can see a number of points of light. And to be clear, this isn't like, photorealistic image of by any means. It's more like a vector line drawing of sorts. It also displays things that you can tell are definitely not there anymore. There's a little bit of a fortress around this tower that obviously is no longer there, as well as the tower itself. But you do see a small point of light right where Ceradyn is. And you also see a significantly larger point of light off to the right of it, which would be to the west, 200 or so feet away, just still. In reading the script, targeting terminal.
Interesting. Does it say anything about how to work it?
There are no instructions present.
Being curious, as if to try to touch a touch screen, I'm going to touch the big blue, where I would perceive big blue is.
Okay.
Well, if it is big blue, but I'm going to touch that big bright light.
Okay. As you do, a little bit of a field kind of extends out of this terminal. And there are a number of selections you could make. Fire, lightning, or ice.
I want to go with ice.
Ice, okay. You tap ice. And then two more options pop up. One shows this small thread that goes and connects to this collection of ether that you submitted. And one goes off deep to the mechanism and shows a vessel of energy that is quite large in compared to the ether that you submitted. It seems this has been collecting energy from the ley lines since its creation.
Getting an idea of what this thing is about to do, is there any way I can see to try to contact Ceradyn from in here?
You didn't see any psychic function, but if you'd like, you could take more time to explore.
How far away you said he's about 200 or so feet away from Ceradyn?
Yeah, it looks like about that. And neither are moving. Occasionally there's this little wisp of light that travels back and forth between them.
Alright. I gotta make a roll on my own side of things real quick.
Okay.
Alright. Evens or odds is what it comes down to.
Okay. And what's the or I guess I'll just let you
I'm
say
going
what your
to
decision
say
is.
the phrase is I'm going to play the odds. So odds is press the button to fire it. And
Okay.
evens would be to try to find a way to contact Ceradyn first.
Okay.
So 6. So I'm
Okay.
gonna
Going to
spend
attempt to
least-
contact Ceradyn.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend what in my mind in this space is like 5 or 6 minutes trying to,
Okay.
depending on how long it actually is in the real world, I'm not sure, but
Of course. Yeah, just go ahead and roll an investigation check, and while that searching is happening, Ceradyn, we come back to you.
30. Natural 20.
Okay. Ceradyn, so that question bouncing around in your mind. It doesn't really let up, but if you'd like to turn your attention elsewhere, you can.
I know the question is there. And while interesting, I think Ceradyn is... I mean, obviously he's ruffled. No pun intended.
Ruffled feathers.
But
Bird
it's because he doesn't know where this being is that is talking to him. So I think he would be doing another scan. Like he's constantly scanning around the area, but I think he would take to the air again.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check. The snow hasn't let up, but it still hasn't gotten worse by any means.
And that's a dirty 20.
20. It takes you a good minute. You go up and you circle again, hearing nothing from the Encephalon. Off in the distance, you do finally see there's just the subtlest of blue glows. 150, 200 feet off to the west. Or east, sorry. Off to the east of you. Which is the direction it was coming from.
Yeah.
But it's just still.
I think with finally having an area of location, he would note it and go back to the tree to perch.
Okay.
And in hopes of it hearing his thoughts, as he's aware it's connected to him at the moment somehow, and his wall fortress is not working.
Does the fortress crumble, or is he maintaining it?
I mean, he's still like trying to add things to it in hopes that like when he communicates, something won't get through.
Okay.
But I think with that and going back to the perch, he's just going to be... Why not go back home to where your food is? another
Just
prodding.
roll a wisdom check.
Okay.
Just a wisdom check.
Okay. $15.
15. You still focusing in on building the wall. The response comes back, and it's not as muddled. Why do you look to cut me out?
So knowing that this thing can garner surface thoughts, on the surface there's a little bit of fear, but he says back, why press for the other one so hard?
Please, do not shut me out.
What show of good faith have you?
Make a persuasion check. 13. Okay. I have not struck, have I?
It is fair enough. Are you seeking him as food?
I do not consume the soul. I am nourished by knowledge.
I imagine there's noticeable surprise that the creature gets from the emotions.
Okay.
Because Ceradyn loves knowledge and information. So it's conflicting. Yeah, so conflicting surprise.
With that, we'll turn our attention back to Chief.
Okay.
Oh, Chief with a natural 20. You spend the 5 minutes looking around this space. There is not anything that will give you the means to send directly a message. But there may be ways to send a message. And you were at that console already.
I'm already at the console that has the ways to do.
It is the targeting console.
Oh boy. All right, before I press the button to choose which ether to use, I'm going to tap on Ceradyn's form.
Okay. And the same options pop up. Fire, lightning, or ice.
I don't want to chance accidentally hurting them. Is there like, so there's other type of life around, like that deer maybe or something?
Within the scope of this view, looking off to that side, no, the deer's not still in view. There's a multitude of very, very small points of light. You get the sense that other birds, squirrels, and the like might be registered on this.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find one that's not too close to Ceradyn, because I know he's in that tree. And I'm going to tap that, whatever creature it is. And I am going to, knowing that it's snowing, I want to do lightning onto it.
Okay.
Hopefully he gets the message of saying, hey, I found something, hide, or something like that.
So, as you click lightning, much like before, the two ether sources pop up. One minuscule in comparison to a battery of immense proportion.
I want to save the big one for the main target, and this is doing what I'm thinking is going to do. And so I will do the smaller portion.
Okay. You click on it, and there are 2 counts of ether remaining. Do you use both? Or just one?
I just want to use one.
Just
Thinking
one?
that I'll be kicked out if both of them are depleted.
You tap. And it's interesting, you tap one and one of them is glowing as like a boom, boom, boom. Confirm.
I'll tap the confirmation, yes.
All you see is that little bit of light just goes out. Ceradyn, what you see about 30 feet in front of you off to the left, you don't have to roll a perception check because it's really obvious. A magic circle appears in the air, probably about 4 feet across, and then it's and then you hear just a
I think with that, Ceradyn might think with the conversation with Big Blue and the stuff we found downstairs that maybe Chief set a trap off. And now he's worried. Not only worried, but that could have been him in his brain. And he doesn't know if it's just going to start firing like crazy. So how high was this magic circle?
So this whatever creature just got murdered was in about a 20-foot tree, somewhere in the middle of it, so it was only about 10 feet up. The circle was about 60 feet in the air, and it was like at an angle. So like,
I think he would want to get off the ground. I know he's on the tree, but I think he would want to take flight and get up. Because he also doesn't know what this creature can do. So with the thought of traps and with the thoughts of maybe this could be the creature, he wants to take flight and keep eyes on the creature from the direction he knows it is in.
Okay. As you take off into the air, you do quickly regain vision of this slight, ever so slight blue glow. And at this point, it's still like very, very early afternoon. Quite bright light, the pearl bow, waves of white light in the sky, though they are blotted a little bit by the slightly increasing snow clouds. And do you begin to circle, or are you going to chief, or what's?
I think I
What's the
go up
plan?
into the air and towards the creature. He would think, is that a warning?
No response. But make an insight check.
Okay. A 3. I'm so confused. I love it.
Not quite able to discern why you're not getting a response. Your mind just goes to the worst.
He wants to stay in the air, keeping obvious overhead visual of not just the creature, but of himself in some kind of attempt to see it coming, if it's for him.
Okay. Chief, you do see Ceradyn begin to move. He makes a circle that comes over the building.
Think to myself, in this place, at least he's not by yet. Maybe he'll be safe. I'm gonna press the button on the big thing, choose ice, and use the big boy power.
Okay, you click on the vast availability of power. How many units of ether do you select?
How many are in front of my view? An estimation, at least.
It is impossible to estimate something that extends to the horizon.
Jeez.
This thing has been collecting for a long time and has not been used in just as long.
I'm going to do... I had no visual of how big the circle was from where I am, right? I just saw the light disappear.
No, you would have seen. It wouldn't have been like a very, very obvious indicator, but you could see the execution of the attack, and you would have been able to see the little whip that kind of popped up.
I'm going to look at the screen and kind of judge on how big the creature is.
Okay. So to be clear, the creature is a point. It's just bright.
Oh, okay. So the big brightness. And judge off of how big the other little brightness was. And I want to... If that was one... How big size comparison do you think they would be? In terms of brightness?
Make an intelligence check.
I'm too big of in a rush.
Man, it has to be a couple hundred times bigger.
Oh, so I did one for the one little thing. I am going to probably regret this decision. 10 by 10. So it'd be 100.
Okay. And very intuitively, you kind of sweep your hand across it. And almost taking your intention. A 10 by 10 selection of units of ether. Confirm.
Quick check to see where Ceradyn is located.
In his circle, he's still kind of over the tower. Which is odd because as his unit, flies through the pictogram of the tower, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's because the tower isn't actually there.
When he's making the circle back towards the tower, I'm going to press confirm.
Okay.
So I know at the time of fire, it'll probably be the farthest away, maybe.
So, what you see, Chief, and Ceradyn is not outside of the circle.
Oh no.
Ceradyn! Maintaining awareness intentionally of above and around you, as you said. There's a buzz in the air, universal, and the quills of your feathers stand on end and shiver and quake. It messes with your flight a little bit, even, and you feel gravity is shifted. It's no longer straight down, it's slightly towards the Encephalon. What do you do?
I think the moment his feathers kind of lifted because lightning and him seeing lightning, he's going to be thinking, oh, lightning, and going to dive into the ruins through that cracked open door as fast as possible.
Okay. So I need you to roll a dexterity check for this. Because as you dive, as your head begins to turn, you see an eruption of a magic circle beginning to form in the sky, higher than before, and about 300 feet across.
Dang.
Just to clarify, I did pick the ice option. So
yes, you did.
Yeah.
But it is a massive amount of ether.
Deciding to dive in the house and then seeing that, or the ruins, and seeing that form, would he have time to be able to discern whether going a different direction would be fast enough?
No.
Okay.
Well, depending. I mean, you could always roll high on dex, but
yeah. Okay. Dexterity save. 17.
You make it into the building before the sky itself tears open. And you hear meteors of ice falling to the ground. Hundreds, thousands of them shaking everything. The air itself is vibrating into and through the building. And Ceradyn, another one, comes and collapses the part of the building right in front of you. And there is an explosion of ice from this. I need you to make another dexterity saving throw.
Okay. I think he has, at this point, put 2 and 2 together that the first attack was not from Big Blue, and the weapon that Big Blue was talking about, she found. So, that's... Oh, no. It's a nat 1.
Now, here's the thing with Meteor Swarm. Each impact has a certain value. And succeeding on the save reduces the damage by half. Given the potential for what might happen, I'm going to roll these 66, as well as any subsequent meteors that will determine by a roll that would impact around you on the camera.
Okay.
Sorry, Kiro.
It's okay. Oh boy, here we go.
That was bigger than I thought it was gonna be.
You know the videos online of a baseball hitting a bird at the pitcher's mound?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm kind of imagining that right now myself.
Well, thank goodness I made it
Okay.
into the building, so it like would be shrapnel more than it would be the actual ice ball in my hopes,
True.
but
So, first I'm going to roll a d4 to determine how many meteors are within radius of impact that would be relevant to you.
okay.
Now, this is taking into account that the building is taking the brunt of some of the damage, because it would normally be more than 66 per impact. 3.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
What's your health total, Ceradyn, by the way?
52.
Hey, that's mine.
Okay. So 6. 9 and 8. So 17 points of ice damage for the first one.
Okay.
And as the second one crashes down below a 10, no, let's say below a 5, it'll cause full meteor damage to you and not be reduced by the building. That's a 16, so you're good there. So again, 66. Ooh, 9. 13. That goes to 8, so 21.
Okay. That's 21.
What are you at now?
Damage, I am at 14.
Okay. Well, the good news is that at this number, you can't be killed instantly. 5. 8. That's 13.
Okay.
9. You are unconscious. You take a point of exhaustion. Ooh. Whoa. Ah. Oh. Backdrop. Funny.
Point of exhaustion, and I am on death saves.
Yes, which the time scale of that we are going to have to manage here in a little bit.
And I imagine Chief sees my light go out.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. What in the world is going on with this? Why is it cricket? That's super weird. Yeah,
Ooh,
like,
special
there we go.
file 3.
Yeah, it's part of what I have to do for white balance. Why are you having so much trouble?
Ha 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 ha.
It must
No, I'm
be
just kidding.
super. Well, it's just like it won't stay. But it's never had this problem before.
Oh, that's so weird.
It's just like meow. Okay. Chief, as this enormous circle extends, you don't hear anything. Roll. This might take a minute. 24d12.
24d12?
Or no, you selected 100 units. 48d12 rather.
$48. I'm not sure why I'm
48
counting.
d12.
All right, 48d12. Here we go. Is it d12? Yep.
Yep.
Oh, it's all over the screen.
That's part of why I had you do it like that.
It's so cool. 307.
Yeah, that'll do it.
God.
Yeah. You see the circle form, and then you see pieces falling. And this display is kind of a three-dimensional thing. But not completely. You know, it's just like flat layers that are on top of each other. The little streaks start coming down, and you notice not only the small little Ceradyn making his way into the building, but the creature quickly begins to leave, but then is smashed repeatedly over and over and over again. It tries to change direction, and eventually snuffed out. But 40 more lines fall. And you do see a great number of them falling on the structure. And you also see Ceradyn's light go out.
So the light that I was targeting is out as well. Yes.
Yes.
Right, immediately I'm gonna
Before Ceradyn's was.
Okay. I'm going to immediately try to break connection and get out to go find Ceradyn.
Okay. It's a relatively trivial task, as basically as you will yourself to no longer be connected, you kind of almost like that rewinding feeling. You're pulled back up through this path you took to get here. And on your way, there's this almost like reality itself just
Like inside of this
dreamscape
space or whatever.
Yes. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
I'm not good at those. But I got a 19.
Okay. More cracks, and you see terminals going going dark. And you retract further and further, and then you're looking up at the ceiling of that room.
I'll look over to Master, assuming he's just right there at the door waiting for me.
He is on guard, staring at the door, hackles raised. Parts of this room are collapsed and falling. There's still dust
I'll
falling.
command him to find Ceradyn as I get up and start following after him.
Okay. He does charge up the stairs. At this point, we're like pseudo initiative, so you're moving at a certain rate. Master does move out ahead of you. You do make your way up out of the stairway, the spiral staircase that had brought you down into this place. And the structure is annihilated. There's very little left at this point. Thinking back, he's on the other side of this central area. You make your move?
Yeah, I'll make my way over there. Hopefully me or Master will spot him quickly.
Okay. You do make your way. As you circle, you see Master biting at rocks, throwing them to the side, kind of digging at a spot.
Go help pick up some of the bigger chunks and toss them.
Okay. Just handling something on the other side. Are you getting those messages, Cyrnos? Or Ceradyn, sorry.
Is you thinking my character chat or is it personal?
Yeah,
Okay,
character.
there you go. Yeah.
So that'd be 3 so far.
Okay,
Or 4?
3.
Nope, 4.
2. Oh, yes. Okay. How do I make those in private?
I'm not safe, so you're good.
You could either just roll a d20 IRL or do, when you, in the bottom left, click d20. I think you can say to myself or to GM.
Oh, okay.
Either way, I haven't seen it, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
And I'm not paying attention to the chat on the
you're good, Tyler.
one. I just have the map up.
Okay. I got you.
Chief, you and Master... Fuck. You and Master do pull the rebel from this spot that he focused in on. And you do find Ceradyn small, battered, and crushed, half frozen. Only the faintest breath remains. What are you doing?
I'm gonna pick him up in one hand and cut my other one gently over him. And I got you, buddy. And then I'll go, Owlin, please help. And I'm going to use my laying on of hands pool to pump in 5 HP.
Okay. Ceradyn. You have only narrowly escaped death. As we require 5 failed death saves, and you would be at 4.
Oh, we do 5.
We do.
I
I was
don't think
wondering
knew
if
that.
you remembered that.
I
I was
didn't.
wondering if you remembered that.
I thought he was gone.
No. But
It'll just be when you wake up, you'll see a glowing green. You're like in a green glowing cocoon.
Okay.
your eyes very slowly pull open. Your body is racked with unimaginable pain. As the mechanics of our campaign, you are sitting at 4 death saves because getting knocked unconscious immediately marks 1. And then you failed 3 of your throws. Each of those also comes with a point of exhaustion.
So 4 more points of exhaustion? Or just 3?
3 more. You took the 1 point of exhaustion already.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry, my friend. I tried to warn you.
As a point of note, the successive exhaustion from failing more and more death saves was affecting your death save rolls.
Oh.
You barely succeeded that 1. That was the difference. Because you were at 3 points of exhaustion on that roll.
Oh, so that wasn't a... Oh.
It wasn't a 13.
That was a 10.
No. That was a 10, which is the minimum to succeed on a death saving throw.
Oh my gosh!
As our points of exhaustion are -1 to d20 rolls, including death saves.
But you now have 5 HP.
But you are back. Those failed death saves persist until each is cleared by a singular long rest. And the same is true as for the exhaustion.
Okay.
I'm gonna look at Master and say, "I got you from here, buddy." Looking at Master and then talking down to my cocoon around Ceradyn. I got you. You just
as the warm, logical light of Ioun channeled through you revives Ceradyn from the brink of certain death. Ceradyn, your heart pounding in your chest. That's where we're going to end this session.
I almost killed you. I'm sorry.